What's up, folks? My name is Skunk Commentary, and today I'm gonna rant. I'm gonna rant so much. I'm gonna rant about why vampires in pop culture are fucked up beyond all repair. And I'm doing this because it's also Nosferatu's 100-year anniversary right now. But still, this is such a big topic that I've been wanting to talk about for so long. Yeah. I think that... Okay. For those who know me, they know that I am very passionate about vampires. I love the vampire mythos. I think it's super interesting. I think that the vampires are a very important creature to today's fiction society. It is one of the most well-known fictional creatures, maybe next to the zombie and the werewolf, or the alien. But the vampire is one of the most loved creatures, and one of those who have seen the most different versions of itself. So we're gonna go all the way back to the early 1900s. 1922. If you understand the Stephen King reference there. If there's any other Stephen King fan here in the chat at least. But we're gonna talk about vampires. Yeah, in 1922, the first vampire film ever was released. Nosferatu. Made by I've forgotten the name. F.W. Monroe. I have the Nosferatu movie here on my shelf right now, so you know. I gotta know my Nosferatu. But F.W. Monroe made a little movie that was a ripoff of Dracula. And Dracula, one of the most well-known movies of all time, or one of the most well-known books of all time too. And yeah, Dracula, it's a great book, by the way. I read it, so I know what I'm talking about. But yeah, Dracula is an amazing story, and I really recommend reading it. But F.W. Monroe made a ripoff of Dracula and called it Nosferatu, and it turned out to be an amazing film. Why the fuck am I so bad at this game? That guy must have been one. But yeah, Nosferatu, that was... The vampire in that film was heavily based on the classic Strigoi, which is the classic Romanian vampire. And Nosferatu, yeah, it became a great movie. I really recommend everyone checking it out. If you haven't checked out Nosferatu, yeah, do it. It's public domain, so you can find it on YouTube for free. And no, I do not say that you should do piracy, but if it's public domain, then you should watch it. Anyhow, then sooner, Dracula finally got turned into real movies, and Dracula's story overall, it isn't really ruining the vampire as it is ruined today. But what it does do is that it brings more human to the vampire. In Nosferatu, Graf Orlok, as he's named, he's an evil, nasty bastard. I mean, if you've seen the movie, you know that there's no humanity left in that guy. He's going around... He's a Strigoi. But Dracula is more human. more human than beast. And soon the vampire turned out to be more and more of a love seeker, which I think kind of is the beginning of the end, in my opinion. Because, yeah, then, however, vampire movies continued to come out. They became a real phenomena. And it was usually, however, just Dracula. Because Dracula is the classic, and Dracula is well loved by everyone, so of course we had to have more Dracula movies. I think at the end there was like, yeah, there's been so many Dracula movies throughout the years. I don't even think there is enough time in this video to count them all up, but Dracula is one of the most important fictional characters. And yeah, in the classic Hammer horror movies, yeah, his vampirism was on full display. But then, no, other movies started coming out about vampires. We have, and then soon the trend of romance pyres, which I'm gonna call it, also popped up with movies like Interview with a Vampire, which is not bad, which is why I give it a pass. But that movie follows, if my memory doesn't fail me, Tom Cruise, Kirsten Dunst, and damn, who's the last person? I haven't seen it, so, but I'm okay with it because it at least shows more of how the vampire, it at least shows the vampire isn't all human. And another movie that came out was Underworld, which was basically vampire superhero. The Super Pyre. I've seen one of them. They're okay. I personally prefer Resident Evil. Those movies are more done fun. But where I'd say the vampire, got foobar was with, you know it and you hate it. I think most of you know it and dislike it. Twilight. I at least personally heavy dislike Twilight. I think it's I've seen the first one because a friend forced me to. He must have enjoyed my suffering a lot. But the Twilight movies, they're not really that good. And there they go full on that, oh, the vampires are just misunderstood. Kiss my ass. I heavily dislike that stereotype. I'm more in the vampires are inhuman, horrific creatures called strigoi from Romanian mythology. That is the only vampire I like. I can accept others, but that is what I like. And again, I think it's okay to like different kind of vampires. But Twilight, yeah, they kind of fucked up. Also, from my understanding, I haven't read the novel series because I'm not a masochist. I do not want to suffer. I do not enjoy suffering either. I mean, I'm suffering enough in school. Okay, joking aside, I do not find vampire romance to be really my cup of tea. I mean, if you enjoy Twilight, that is fine, but then you don't like vampires. You like a romanticized emo with fangs who shines. Also, if you like Shining, maybe check out The Shining, an actually decent film. There's another person there. Yeah, this game is chaos. But yeah, we're gonna... If you actually like romance vampires, which there's nothing wrong with it, it's just weird in my opinion. Because, yeah, vampires are rotting corpses. So, I mean, I'm not here to kink shame. If you like rotting corpses, fine by me. Okay, jokes aside, if you actually want a good vampire romance, which is more like the original vampire, then I really recommend, and I can't recommend this movie enough, Let the Right One In, or Let Me In, as the English version is called. Based on a book by John Lindquist. This is the only romance vampire story that I've seen, read, and enjoyed. All to my heart's extent. And the thing is, this movie is a masterpiece. The story in itself is a masterpiece. And it shows that you don't have to do a shitty romance for it to be vampire romance. Or it doesn't have to be shitty. Because this movie is actually super good. And it is such a good movie. It's really worth checking out. Check it out if you get the chance. If you have the opportunity, you should check it out. Is the kind of story that is just amazing. And even for me as a vampire purist, which is what I like to call myself at least, that's what I tell myself when I fall asleep at night wondering what the fuck I'm doing with my life. When even I agree with a vampire romance story, then you know that it is good. I mean, a good vampire story is the one which involves all the elements that makes vampires scary in the first place, but at the same time, it involves a good antagonist and protagonist. And the thing that makes me love Let the Right One In is that the actual villain of it, the actual villains are the humans. That is what makes that movie so good. The villain, rather than being, you know, a poorly written vampire that is just there to ruin the romance, it's a human who has an actual goal by doing what he is doing. That is what makes Let the Right One In such a masterpiece. And there is an English version if you don't speak Swedish called Let Me In, which is, in my opinion, just as good. The original is always, you know, a bit better. But you know, it is still good enough. You know, it doesn't have to be perfect, but it's still good. And an enjoyable movie is worth watch for me, at least. So yeah. But what do I think? Is the vampires out of touch? Both yes and no. I think that there are some amazing vampire movies out there. No, my personal favorite is Nosferatu, and you're never going to change that opinion. Because it's the right opinion, okay? You left me? What the fuck? But yeah, what I think will come next for Vampires 2? I really have no idea when it comes to that. But I hope that we're getting somewhere when it comes to vampires. Because, yeah, the vampire, it's such a great creature when it comes to fictional creatures. And I'd say it is an important creature overall when it comes to fictional stories. I mean, can you name a more iconic creature than a vampire? I think some people might have a hard time doing it. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this little rant about vampires, and I'll see you